Yeah,
and
I
raise
do have you guys on Facebook, actually. And I'm not sure if you guys, I tagged you both in what I'm about to talk about, but I'm not sure if you guys ended up seeing it.
If I can jump in here, I'm so sorry. It was like right after I fell asleep and I realized you'd gotten into a discussion and you had just basically said, okay, guys, come here, help me with this now. And then you didn't heed the Facebook call to help.
You guys left me out to dry, thanks.
Oh,
no. I'm kidding, it's totally fine.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically, I mean, if either of you have ever paid attention to any of my posts, you know I'm a very loud, outspoken, opinionated woman. And my Facebook is no exception. And I'm always, you know, pretty vocal about my beliefs or lack thereof. And with the shooting that happened in Florida, maybe it struck a chord with me because I'm a mother, but that really messed me up. And I got really, you know, fed up with all of the BS about, oh, we need to pray for these families. So I don't recall exactly what post this was, but it was something basically saying, you know, screw your thoughts and prayers. And got into it, really heated debate with a couple of theists about prayer. So essentially I ended up being told that I was being disrespectful. And the problem I have with that is that, you know, literally the only thing I said was prayer has never been demonstrated to be an effective way of, you know, altering reality. It doesn't do anything. And they pretty much, you know, well, that's pretty much insinuating that theists are stupid, or, well, you're saying that prayer is garbage and that's offensive. So my question to you guys would be, is it in the spirit of effectiveness of getting people to understand your point, do you think that it is our responsibility to walk on eggshells, being that religion is such a sensitive and personal topic?
Well, to quickly provide, you know, a direct address to your question is it depends on your approach and your audience and what your win scenario is. But I would like to say in academia, people disagree fervently and shred, in a metaphorical sense, each other's papers. And then they go out and they get coffee or a drink or both. They get an Irish coffee.
Right.
And there's, you know, a certain level where if I'm out, well, with Eric, it's different. But if I'm out with like a friend and they're like, yeah, you know, I mean, like, do we really know what causes autism, vaccines or whatever? My response probably, because I'm out to lunch or dinner, I forget which one I said with them, is not going to be, listen, dumbass, right? Like that, not necessarily.
Of course.
There's a place for that, but saying like, no, there's actually not really good evidence for that. That hasn't been demonstrated. Just because we don't know all of the causes or details of autism doesn't mean you can insert whatever. Not knowing an answer doesn't mean we have no fucking idea. There's a difference. The fact that a statement like that is something that believers take offense to resembles to me a 5-year-old taking offense when you tell them that Santa Claus isn't real. It's sort of like at a certain point, you got to get skin and be an adult.
I agree. And you know, the thing with me was that I didn't use, I make it a point of not calling names or saying anything out of the realm of what I know, which is that, you know, prayer fails. And basically it was proposed to me, you know, well, you should be, you know, wording it like this. And it was this big, nice, fluffy, sugar-coated sentence. And I'm like, but why do I have to do that? Not being any.
So I read it, and I thought you held yourself really, really well. The person who was saying that kept saying, you're calling them stupid, you're calling them stupid. She was projecting.
Yeah.
She realizes how stupid it sounds.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of communication. Yeah. So is there? You're not gonna get them all. And honestly, there's a good chance that this might start her doubling down and maybe reading more about it and possibly seeing that, oh well, okay, maybe I was wrong. I know that helped me. Yeah.
Because that's
and you know,
one of the values of the more firm attack is, depending on the person, they'll be like, well, I'm going to do research and I'm going to figure out what the answer is, and then I'm going to tell you about it because I think I'm right. Let me find it. Right? That can happen.
Yeah, and you know, I actually have a really close friend who now considers herself an atheist. She was kind of on the fence, and she's going through a divorce right now, and she was being told all this advice, like, you know, to fix her marriage that was unhealthy for her. And so I felt, you know, as her friend, obligated to be like, no, this isn't right. Like, if you need to get a divorce for your own well-being, you need to do that. And, you know, it's kind of countered all of the religious arguments for it. And she actually, you know, she would debate with me here and there and get really frustrated with what I was saying. And it was really funny. The other day I was texting with her, and I said something to the effect of, you know, oh, pray to God that this doesn't happen or whatever. And she goes, well, I would, but we both know that that wouldn't do shit. And I said, I'm so proud of you, my little heathen. So, you know, like, it's true. The more that I think, and this is why it's important for me, at least, to be as outspoken as I am, is because the more that you're in people's faces, so to speak, without being rude about it, the more chances that they have to think about it and actually analyze what they believe and why.
Yeah. What's the secular equivalent of preaching to the choir, Jamie?
Oh. Lecturing the experts? Well, no, that implies like you're filling the echo chamber is what it should be, something like that.
I don't know. It was pithy and amazing. We're gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going.
At some point, someone had a competition to come up with an equivalent. Now
There was a winner. There was a winner. It was on our Reddit.
Hi, I brought this conversation off into the weeds. How are you?
That's okay.
But no,
What do you think, brother?
You guys are a good example. You're not up here trying to convert anybody, but if people turn around and see you on YouTube and you on Facebook or whatever, and see smart, intelligent people that are very likable, you think, well, maybe they do have a point. And instead, you know, because some of these religious jerks, man, think they know all the answers and are actually turning people away, hopefully turning a lot of people away. So when you see smart, intelligent people that seem open-minded and open-hearted to you, that will spread the atheist cause a little further, hopefully.
Right, and, you know, like, one of the things that I don't know if you saw or not, Eric, that I had said was, okay, so telling you that prayer doesn't work, you know, is offensive, but if a theist tells me that I'm going to hell unless I believe in a God, that's not offensive?
Well, not to them. Well, of course not, because they're right.
Yeah.
And they're the only people that matter. Duh.
Yeah.
And you can matter too. Join the club. Join up.
Yeah.
Another important aspect, I think, too, is that the more outspoken you are about, you know, being an atheist, the less scary it becomes for people that know you that maybe don't know any atheists or any out atheists, because the reason that it's such, you know, a taboo thing is because people aren't talking about it. And it takes like, if you know, go to work with me every day and you're like, oh, I know Kendall, she's a really nice lady. She's got a son at home and, you know, this and this and this. And then you find out I'm an atheist. Then it's, oh, well, she's not so bad.
Right.
You know, it takes that stigma away from it.
That's definitely the benefit of being an out atheist, and we really appreciate that you're doing it.
Right.
Kendall?
Benefit of being an out, insert whatever you are.
Wish that we would have picked you up sooner. We do have a couple more theists, and we're almost out of time.
Yep.
So we do want to move on, but I'm so glad that you called. And
yes, I agree.
Good to talk to you guys.
You handled yourself well.
Thank
you did good. And you know, honestly,
thank you so much.
That kind of thing is the best that we can hope for, is for people to go, oh, well, you know, and get their feathers ruffled. And that's okay.
Right.
You don't need to be the person that makes everybody feel happy, because just like we were talking about, when you're faced with the idea, when you're faced with the Socratic, you know, when you're taking a look at why you believe the things that you believe. And you're taking a look at all of these things that people assume, oh, well, prayer's okay because it makes everybody feel fine. No. It's not okay because people die. I mean, in our first episode, we were talking about a baby that died because the parents chose to pray instead of taking the baby to the hospital, and the baby died.
Yeah.
And then they
started. Don't get me started.
And they called the church. They called the church and had the church come and lay hands on their dead baby and try and pray it back to life. Oh. And people say that there's no damage done. That's ridiculous.
Hey, what's the harm of religion again? I think it's harmless and great, isn't it? It's just about flowers and ponies.
You know, that's what I was really trying to get across is it's great if prayer makes you feel good. That's wonderful. But you know what? It doesn't have any bearing on reality.
Yeah. And also,
heroin.
Well, in the best circumstances, it doesn't have any bearing on reality because in the worst, it does, and it's not a good thing.
Is it Kathy Yates?
Right. So, Kendall, we're going to let you go, but stay awesome. And
before you let her off,
yes.
Are we? So, I'm not sure how much you've used Reddit, but if you screen capped that conversation and threw it up in a Reddit post, I'm sure that Redditors would love to go through it line by line and point out how you're awesome and they're terrible.
Let's make a nice little echo chamber.
I was going to say, are we inviting theists?
Have a great day, okay?
You
All right,
too.
you
Thank
too, Kendall. Stay awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
All right,
are we
we're going to move on.
Believers into the Reddit? Have we decided?
Hey, why not?
Leave it unmentioned?
Just as long as they're not assholes. And if they are assholes, be prepared. Be prepared.
We can,
you are not prepared.
Out of it. Yeah.